My journey's been crazy. I'm in California in the Rancho Palos Verdes, LA area, and my my journey is really a crazy one. In my 30s, I started with autoimmune problems, and I'm not going to go into what the diagnosis were, but when I tell you my symptoms, you'll know. I had chronic fatigue. I was exhausted all the time. I would bring my kids to school and I'd go home and lay on the sofa. I'd go to work, go home, lay on the sofa. And this continued through my adult life. And one of the things that happened is 3 years ago, I got to the point where I had all these autoimmune problems. All these things were happening to me from my skin, from just everything you can imagine. My hands, I couldn't close my hands because my arthritis hurt so much. And I just didn't know what life was going to entail. Well, what happens with us is we start seeing our parents in us. And my mother passed away 8 days before her 68th birthday. And here I am going to be 65 and thinking, I don't have much time to live. My brother died at 41 from heart disease. So, you really start looking at all this. And I, tried different diets. I tried everything. The doctors always pills, and all the stuff to help with inflammatory, which I don't have to tell you what they wanted me to be on because it killed my mother. She was on it for 30 years. And I didn't know what my life was going to be like. Well, I was walking to the store one day and I realized my legs were limber and I thought I was going to pass out. And I'm thinking, I'm not even 65 yet and I need a walker. And it really bothered me because I remember my mother with a walker. And I would have my daughter go into the store for me because I was too tired to go. I stopped knitting because my hands, I couldn't knit. I was just exhausted. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine. And she says, I think I have something that you and your daughter, it could change your health. And I'm like, yeah, right. I also have something wrong with me that they wanted to do stem cells. So I had no idea what that was. I didn't even know. I just knew it was very, very expensive and there was no way I could do it. So when she told me about LifeWave, I'm like, wow, this seems like could be a miracle, but it's not going to work, right? So I bought the dine-in pack because I figured I'm just going to be buying it once, and when it's gone, either it worked or it didn't. So my daughter and I started doing it. Well, she had a sty in her eye, and it usually takes weeks and weeks for her sty to go away. I talked to Brian, who's my upline, and we put it by her eye, and the next morning it was gone. I'm like, oh my God, this is working, but not knowing if it's working on me. I didn't track. So I recommend everybody here track so you know what's going on. I noticed I had more energy. I also noticed that I was remembering things so much better. I also have notes here, so I want to make sure I look at my notes. I was sleeping better. I never really had a hard time sleeping. That years ago I did, but I didn't as much anymore. I didn't seem as depressed as I was. And then I noticed one day, it was like 2 weeks of using it. I got into the house and I realized I didn't hold on to the handrail to go up 3 lousy steps. I ran into my house and I'm like, wow, I didn't need to use a handrail. I realized I didn't have to get somebody to hold the groceries to go in. And after a couple of months, I started having people, because I've been doing networking on Zooms for the last 5 years. And people are saying, what are you doing? You look so good. You have so much energy. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not doing anything different, forgetting that, yeah, I'm patching, not thinking the patches are doing this. Well, to my surprise, I was changing, and I was, who you see now is not who I was 3 years ago. And I could close my hands. I don't have to soak my hands under water in the morning. So I used to not do my dishes so I could, I didn't want to waste water. so I can just do normal things. My face has gotten clearer. My aches and pains aren't there anymore. They're not gone, because when it gets cold, they hurt a little bit, but nothing that keeps me in bed. I was in bed all the time. I am never in bed anymore. And it's just amazing for me, because when you live life, waking up in the morning and thinking, am I going to be able to get out of bed? What's going to happen? The most miracle for me was I went to the restroom one night and I realized I didn't have to hold on to anything. I forgot, and it was because of one of these calls. I've had vertigo for 20 years and nobody could figure out how to get rid of it. It's gone. It is gone. And once in a while, I'll feel a little, but nothing. I could barely walk. I used to have to hold on to things. So
Wow.
it works.
It works. I love that. It works. Okay, so let me take you back just a little bit. Let's talk skin. Now, I look at you now. I saw you, for everybody's here. I was one-on-one in person with Gail. And what you see here, this beautiful skin, this woman who does not look 65. You mentioned your skin right at the beginning of all this. What was going on with your skin? Because we know your skin is the largest organ on your body. It's going to start showing things. Everybody's different. What were you seeing? What was happening?
Okay, so I have sarcoidosis, and it is in my largest organ, which is my skin. Oh, and by the way, in July, I'll be 68. So I'm a little older than I was when I first started this. And I have had skin cancer. So I've had so many things taken off my face, my nose. I have a nose ring because a part of my nose was taken off. When sarcoidosis, what they used to do is biopsies all over my arms.
Okay.
My arms are healed. Those blood spots that you get, the liver spots, I don't have any, and I have not had any after using this for 2 months. My legs aren't black and blue like they used to. I used to black and blue, and I am on a blood thinner because I did, unfortunately, after I had the vaccine, I ended up with AFib. And it's gone now because unfortunately it's not the patch. I had to have the ablation, but my doctor said it was going to come back, and it hasn't. And I had it last June, and I'm sure the patch is why the ablation worked. So, but yeah, my skin feels amazing. It's so soft, and I use skincare. I use our creams, but it didn't matter because it still was showing all my scars, and my scars are going away. I have one big scar on my chest that hasn't gone away yet, but it's so much better. It used to be indented, and it's not anymore. So I know it's healing.
Wow. Wow, I that's amazing. Like, that's amazing, and when you start talking about that. Okay, so let's talk. Obviously, you're having more energy. Your pain level is down. So let's talk about this, because I think everybody experiences pain just a little bit different. When, or I should say, before you were introduced to the technology, your pain level from a 1 to 10 was what?
Well, first of all, I have a very high pain tolerance.
Okay.
And the doctors always couldn't believe it. But my pain level was at an 8.
Wow. That's high. That would be considered really high for someone who has a low tolerance of pain.
Yeah. Well, I had a high tolerance. I
right,
had
exactly.
cesareans, and I walked the next day. I mean, I've never been in. I'll walk with a broken leg if I had to.
Right.
But
so now, on that scale from 1 to 10, it's not apparent often, but when it is, what is it?
Maybe a 2, but once I put my ice wave on, or lots of times I'll put my Aeon on the inflammation, and it's goes away within the next day.
Awesome. So a lot of people in the chat, Gail, want to know, what patches are you using? So
when I first started, I'm in June, it will be 2 years that I've used the patch. The first 2-3 months, I only used the X39 and the Aeon because I didn't understand the other patches. when I got to know more of what the glutathione did, I'm like, oh, I need that, you know. And then the carnosine, oh my gosh, the carnosine is just amazing. I think it's kept me calm. It's helped me sleep at night. I use them all now, but I have something really neat. Since I was on this health journey, I decided I don't need to drink my wine anymore. So I decided that I was going to try. Well, at 67 years old, it's kind of hard to stop drinking when you enjoy your wine. And I am 266 days today alcohol free. I have no desire, and I think it's the ST6. Well, I know it is. So that's exciting for me. And alcohol isn't for everybody, but and not everybody needs to stop drinking, but I'm really excited and proud of myself for this. And I can't wait for 99 days. And then I can say a year.
That's amazing, Gail. Congratulations. That's a big thing, you know, and, you know, those of you real quick that SP6 does, you know, curb sugar cravings. And we know wine has a very high content of sugar. So Gail, you look fabulous. And
thank you.
Your story is incredible. And I know that it's only going to continue to get better, right? It's funny, we get used to our new normal, but then as things change, we don't sometimes realize they're changing because it's just our body's way of just taking care of itself. And we're very grateful for you joining us here tonight. I know people are going to be talking about this. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I just want to say it takes time. And when I look now, like when I'm telling my story now, I cry because you forget how you were before, you know? So always remember, what was I like before this amazing thing I started doing? Because I was a mess, and it's not there anymore. So thank you for having me.